Hey people, what is up? CalviNNatioN here with another video for you. And today's video is going to be on this guy right here, the 62. Almost got these two mixed up. It's understandable. And I just want to talk to you guys about this knife, give you a nice review on it. A lot of people have been asking me to do this, so here it is. Unfortunately, I haven't got this out for a long time just because I haven't been home. As you guys probably should know by now, I was tree planting. And the crappy thing was I got this knife like 3 days after I left, which sucked. Also got this one along with it that same week. So these two knives were just sitting waiting for me for 2 whole months. So the day I got back home, obviously I put these all together and started flipping them. And it's a beautiful knife. It's got some cons, it's got some pros, but we'll talk about that a little later. Quickly, we'll have a look at the sheath it comes with. Standard Benchmade sheath, you guys know all about that, but that's nice that they include that now instead of the pouch that they did with the 51. Also, you'll see that it was latchless. Mine was a bit weird. It came with the latch on the safe handle, which is strange. It also came with the latch backwards. So I don't know if that was straight from the factory or if that happened from the guy who shipped it out to me. It's no big deal because I was going to go latchless anyway, but the funny thing was how it was shipped. It was on the safe handle, and again, like I said, it was the wrong way because you see it has that little kind of nub on there. Basically that nub connects with the spacer, and if it's on the wrong side, it's not going to hit that spacer, so my latch could go that far into the handles, which obviously the blade would be hitting that just like the old school ones. So took it right off. That's alright with me. And you can see here there's the little pin. Basically I'll give you a quick rundown on how it works. The hole in that the latch, which is also cast stainless steel, I believe, so it is a bit weaker. Watch out for dropping your knife. If it does land straight on that latch, you do run a chance of breaking it. I've seen it happen already. But basically what I was saying again, that pin, the thicker part of it, goes in the hole. The thinner part of it goes into the corresponding holes in the handle. Handles, safe handle and bite handle, you can switch it to make it whatever style of flipper you want. Man, it's having a hard time focusing today. But yeah, there's the handles, and basically they're tension fit, or the latches tension fit into the handles. Basically, when you tighten down the handles onto the latch, that's how it's staying in. Contrary to the other models here, like the 4X, which has a screw keeping the latch in, as well as the 51. So it doesn't have an actual screw keeping the latch in, which is a cool design. Maybe a bit harder to take out because you do have to kind of undo the whole handle system to take it out if you want. Yeah, cool design. Let's have a look at the blade. Like my usual reviews, we'll kind of do blade down at the bottom of the handles, and we'll talk about the flippability as well as just with the kind of looks of the knife and the fit and finish. So we'll probably be comparing it with the 42 quite a bit, just because they're so similar, at least in looks. Not in performance though. So, a few differences with this blade compared to the 42 is that we're in a D2 tool steel, which is not my cup of tea. Basically, we have a harder steel, which is going to be a bit easier to chip. Not much, because 154 cm is close in hardness anyway. But it does probably bring the price down just a little bit, having D2. I think it is a cheaper steel. Don't quote me on that, though. But yeah, the only difference is D2, little cutouts in the bottom for the Zen pins, as well as crowning on the spine, which I'll show you in a sec, but more on the D2. Unfortunately, it is D2, so if you're a 154 cm fan like me, you'll be missing out. Also, if you're in states around the coast or just really humid areas, you're going to have an issue with it. I've had a little bit of issues with my 51, just a few speckles on there, so in that sense, I really don't care for D2 on a Balisong. Fixed blades and other stuff like that, they're a bit different. But Balisong's definitely D2. It's not what I would go for at all, but it's not a huge issue for me. But you guys in more humid areas, definitely watch out for the rust. You can see there, like I said, we got the crowning on the 42. It's just got kind of a right angle, as you can see there. Even on the spine we got crowning, which is very, very nice. I really enjoy that. The reason why my 42 is just a bit more polished is just because I did that myself. So the actual fit and finish is identical to the 154 cm. So there's your blade. We'll run down a little bit farther. We'll talk about the Zen pins now. And like I said, we got the cutouts in the blade for the Zen pins, as well as the little nub there on the tang end of the blade for the Zen pins. If you don't know how the Zen pins work, it's just like the 51. 2 pins on both of the handles there. They land in these corresponding holes, as well as the little nub like I showed, just so that the handles don't collide, as well as the blade doesn't occur any damage by hitting the spacers. So there's your tang pins on the 62 specifically. It's a very good idea that they put tang pins on there. I'm sure a lot of guys would be outraged if they had tang pins. And the kicker design, just because the tang pin wears out so fast on a heavy knife. I think this knife is, I think it was 6.39 ounces, I believe. I haven't seen the specs for a long ass time. I'll make sure those get in the description. But yeah, this is a heavy knife. Basically, heavy handles banging on that tang pin. They're gonna really do some damage on that. You guys know on my 42, I actually had to replace a tang pin, and the 42 is only 4.1 ounces. So you can obviously see that there'd be some wear on those tang pins if they were there. So Zen pins, really nice. So let's have a look at these pivots as well. The pivots are different on these. They have like a double Torx design, which means to tighten it you need 2 of the same Torx. They're probably T8 or T7, not sure, but you need 2 Torx wrenches to tighten them. As far as I've known, this system works a little bit better than your classic Torx and press fit, which I really don't care for, but it seems to keep the tightness longer. It might just be that it's newer, but I haven't put any Loctite on this yet, which I should, but I haven't, and that's what the play is. There's no hand or blade rub, which is nice, but been flipping this pretty heavy duty for the last week and a half or so, and that's all there is. As far as I know, that's how that's the best it's going to be anyway. So. But I'll give that tighten up and put some Loctite on that. But yeah, really good handle play. Very nice. I like that. So there's the system. Beautiful. Bad thing too about the press fit is just taking it apart. If you ever need to take it apart, it's a real pain in the ass. I've had to do it a few times. It's when you're doing it, you just feel so risky about it. I always feel like I'm going to just break them right apart, but it never happened yet. But these are a lot easier to take apart, easier to tighten, and they're not going to wear out like the press fit pins could. But yeah, there's your system. Really enjoy that as well. So let's have a look at the fit and finish of the actual handles compared to the 42. It is quite a bit different. If you didn't have both of them in hand, you probably wouldn't be able to see the differences. But on the 42, we have a more brushed look. On the 62, it's more of a polish. Stainless steel does take a way better polish than titanium. Titanium will kind of, I don't know, kind of pale itself out after a while. Kind of patinas a little bit. Whereas the 62 will keep a polish a lot longer. And it does look very nice. I am more of a fan, I must say, of the brushed look of the 42, but that's just me. I know a lot of guys really dig that polish. But the fit and finish on this is just beautiful. Another thing to keep in mind is, compared to the 62, we have a nice finish on the inside of the handles. The 62, contrary to popular belief, the 42, contrary to popular belief, is cast. That's why the insides are kind of blackish looking. A lot of people think it's straight milled out of a chunk of titanium. It is not. One thing that is major proof of that, which I haven't heard ever being touched upon, is right by the latch system. So you can get nice and close. You can see there's actually a whole kind of lowered area in there. That's not machinable. That's definitely cast. So that's a good example of knowing why it's cast there. But That's one thing that's beautiful about the 62 is it's straight milled and designed that way. So you get a nice polish on the inside and just a better fit and finish. You're going to also have way better consistency in the handles. A lot of 42s probably aren't identical when it comes to handle size. I know on my 47, I'm not even going to bother showing you, one of the handles, I think, yeah, it's the safe handle. It actually goes out more this way. It like has this weird bump. With casting, you're never going to have a totally solid finish on it. But I'm just seeing my camera's going to run out of space. Sorry, one second. Sorry for the inconvenience there. Like I said, the memory on my card was diminishing, so I had to quickly shut it off. One thing I'm not sure if I mentioned yet, another little difference on the handles here is the actual skeletonization. I believe that's where we left off. The handles, or the holes on the 42, I guess you could say, have a bit more of a bigger kind of chamfer on them. The 62 has kind of a more tightly finished look, which again all comes down to preference, what you like. Again, you can't really tell the difference unless you really have them side by side, but definitely dig the 42's look just a little bit more. As we work our way down, again you can see, I don't know if I mentioned this either, get those handles lined up. The 62's handles are a little bit shorter. Again, they're in full stainless steel, so they are heavier and shorter, which doesn't exactly benefit the flipping department. So compared to the 42, this thing is an overall a little bit shorter. We'll get those tips lined right up, and there you can see the difference in length. So keep that in mind. Flipping wise, might as well talk about that right now. Flipping, it's not the best, but it's not the worst either. It is a good flipper. It's a nice smooth flipper. It feels good. These do have stainless steel washers compared to phosphorus bronze, which is also a con. I think they should have got phosphorus bronze in there, but I've also heard that they might not be the best on stainless steel Balisongs for kind of a chemical reason almost. I'm not totally sure about that, but they do have stainless steel washers. It is a very smooth knife nonetheless. But with the shortness and the heaviness of this Bali, it is going to be a slower flipper, as well as I don't think it's quite as well balanced as the 42. But with both of these Balisongs, they actually have kind of more weight transfer throughout the entire handle, since this is channeled and this is sandwiched. That's another thing to keep in mind. The 42 is channeled. 62 obviously has the sandwich going all the way through. But they both have kind of weight distributed throughout the entire handle, since the 62 is so heavy, made out of stainless steel, and it doesn't have huge spacers. So most of the weight kind of just lies in the whole thing, because the spacers they're pretty small. It looks really nice though. It's all nicely sanded down and flush. Looks beautiful. The insides though, almost stabbed myself there. They don't look that great. Another thing that's kind of tension fit is the spacer. It doesn't actually go all the way around the pin that goes through there. It's kind of weird how it works. It's the same with the 51. It just kind of fits onto the pin, and then just the pressure of the handles keep that spacer down. So I have seen people who don't have their handles quite tight enough, and well, on the 51 at least, and the spacers actually kind of drift in or drift out. So it's kind of weird. Cool design that they only need one screw for it. But you know, you can take it or leave it. But yeah, flippability, I'd say it's very mediocre. Like I said, it is a heavier flipper, again around 6.4 ounces I believe, whereas the 42 is again around 4.1. So if you don't like a heavier flipper, this is not for you. But it also is fairly balanced, so you're not going to be able to not do any moves with it. It just might be a bit slower and maybe not quite as easy because the balance isn't quite perfect. But I've been able to do every single thing I can on my 42 with the 62, just not with the same ease. But it is a very good flipper. I probably won't get any footage in. I'll probably just do some tutorials with it, just so you guys can see it in action. I'm sure by now some of the pros out there maybe have some montages. I know CCare has some good flipping footage with this as well, but it is a very, very nice knife. I really enjoy it. I'm glad with the purchase. I know I kind of bashed it a while ago. I always liked the design and I always intended to get it, but I just think Benchmade kind of failed on some areas, especially even actually just bringing it back. I think they could have done a better design, a whole new design, and I think that's the biggest area they actually failed on. I think just trying to kind of exploiting a market is a little bit annoying. We've had the 42 for so long, and now we have pretty much the exact same one, just in stainless steel, and it's not as good as a flipper. I think it kind of exploits some of the people who've wanted the 42, maybe some of the younger audience who have seen it and seen it being praised by everyone, seen it in movies and stuff. But I do like the knife. It is a very nice knife, and I guess I'll just kind of leave it at that. One more thing I wanted to quickly mention is about a question I've been getting about what's more worth it over the 51 or the 62, because they are both production Balis from Benchmade in production right now. So there's competition between the two. We'll just put the 47 and the 42 aside for a sec. And yeah, people want to know which one they should get. Basically, you're looking at around $220 for the 62 at this point, and you can get the 51 as low as I think $160. So for the price, materials, flippability, 51 just blows it right out of the water if you ask me. They're about the same length. 51 is just a hair, maybe like 1/16 longer, 1/32 maybe even. But it is a nicer Bali, definitely by far. You can see it's got longer handles, but overall, again, yeah, very similar in length. But I think the 51 is a far better flipper, but there's reasons why you could get the 62 over the 51, or you'd prefer the 62 over the 51. I say if you like a lighter Balisong, go for the 51 all the way, just because it's cheaper for the first point, and it's lighter for the second. So this is going to suit you way, way more. It also looks beautiful. If you're looking for looks only, if you're a more classical skeletonized 42 kind of guy and you don't have a 42 yet, sure, 62 is great. Not going to flip as well, it's heavier, but some guys dig that. I know a lot of guys from the old school days like a heavy flipper. They're used to a heavy flipper, and the 62 is going to be the one for you then. But actually, it's kind of funny. They don't flip the same, but the characteristics are actually kind of the same between the 51 and the 62, in the sense that this one's way lighter than your average Bali, this one's quite a bit heavier than your average Bali, and they both have similar balance in the sense that they're both not balanced great for their weight. The 51 is not super well balanced for its weight. It's really light and also has really light titanium spacers, I think. Are they? I'm actually not sure about that. Are these stainless steel or titanium? Either way, they're really small and there's not much weight back here, so it doesn't matter on the material. But it's not well balanced. Well, it's not great. The balance isn't great for the size of the knife or the weight of the knife. Same with the 62. As you can see, I think the spacers are actually pretty much identical in length. Yep, they are. So balance on both of these, not great. So flippability, still got to go with the 51. 62, I think it's a beautiful looking knife. So if you're a guy who likes heavy Balisongs, classic design, boom, 62. If you're a guy who likes a lighter Balisong, or even just likes a better flipper, go with the 51. If you have a budget to keep, 51. 160, about 220. I'm sure the 62 will go down. I'm sure on secondary market you'll find it for 180, that kind of deal. So there's your review and a little comparison between these two. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll probably go out right now and take some nice photos of this and work these into the review as well. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully it wasn't too long and drawn out, because this is my first video since I've been back, and I can see that it's been going on for a long ass time. So thanks guys for watching, and keep watching for some more videos. Hopefully that review on that Para 2 will be out soon, so take care.